Okay, children. We are live on video now, so voices down.
Hey, what page are we on?
34, 35.
We are starting on page 35. Thank you.
I told you, I said 34, 35.
Okay, ready?
No.
On Thursday, this was 3 days ago, so we probably need to refresh our memories a little bit about what happened.
I remember.
Okay, so on Thursday, we had a kind of a large group of people in the upstairs room at the Paris household. And why were people gathered there?
Betty's dead.
Okay,
Witchery.
Betty is witched. She's alive, but she just tried to fly out the window, which caused people to run upstairs. So, we have Paris, and remember which character is Paris?
Morgan.
It's Morgan, and what is his job in the story?
Reverend.
He's the Reverend. He's also the dad of Betty and uncle of Abigail. Okay, so Paris, go on down. Then we also have John Proctor is still present. John Proctor.
I guess I'm him again. He gave it back to me.
No, you are stuck with it now. Okay, Rico is John Proctor, and who is he in the story?
A farmer.
A farmer.
Very handsome man.
Yeah, Abigail's a fair brother.
Abigail's lover. Well,
Abigail's
Oh!
Actually, Proctor's side piece would be Abigail.
Ex-lover. Okay. What else do we know about his character traits?
He's very out.
He's like honest.
Yeah,
Very
he's an honest Abe, except he had an affair with a
People
teenager.
in the town really look up to him for his moral guidance. Okay. How about Giles? Who's Giles?
Oh, I am. He's 83 and he's ripped.
Older man, but still in good physical condition because he is a hard worker.
You picked the smallest.
Okay.
Hey.
Who is Putnam? And what do we know about Putnam?
His name's Thomas, but
He's
his actual
rich.
name is Thomas.
Land.
He's a B word.
Very selfish. His daughter is also bewitched.
And he's his wife's how do you say this guy's
Reese was running around
name?
naked in the freaking.
No, wait, yeah, because I'm two people, I forgot.
Okay, quiet. Who's Rebecca Nurse? Okay, Rebecca Nurse is the older, very respected woman in the community. And where we left off on Friday, Proctor and Giles were kind of attacking Paris because Paris was complaining about money, how he doesn't get paid enough money. Okay, so we need, come on down, we need Paris, Giles, Proctor,
What's up, Doug?
Rebecca,
Fucking nerd.
Betty.
Rebecca Nurse in this room.
Is Putnam in there or no?
Yes.
okay,
She said Putnam.
yeah, Putnam's in there, I think. Scoot down a little bit so you're on camera.
I can just turn it a little bit.
Okay, we are at the bottom of page 35 where Paris speaks. At the bottom of 35,
So is that Mr. Corey or the salary?
Mr. Corey. Is that what? What were you gonna say, Reese?
No, nothing.
Can you stand up so you can stop pushing buttons on the smart board? Okay, now you can stand up. I promise you can survive.
I don't know, my hamstring is
My leg's busted already.
You'll be okay.
Mr. Corey.
That includes you.
Who's you?
Morgan. Okay.
See, I should just stayed down in one.
Ready?
Mr. Corey, you will look far for a man of my kind at 60 pounds a year. I am not used to this poverty. I left a thrifty business in the Barbados to serve the Lord. I do not fathom it. Why am I persecuted here? I cannot offer one proposition, but there be a howling riot of argument. I have often wondered if the devil be in it somewhere. I cannot understand the people otherwise.
Okay, so Paris has always felt, for the whole time he's been in this community, like he is better than the people here. Okay? And he thinks that the reason that they're out to get him now is because maybe the devil really is here in Salem. Okay? Top of 36, Proctor.
Mr. Paris, you are the first minister ever to demand the house.
Man, don't a minister deserve a house to live in?
To live in, yes, but to ask ownership is like you shall own the meeting house itself. The last meeting I were at, you spoke so long on deeds and mortgages. I thought it were an auction.
I want a mark of confidence is all. I am your third preacher in 7 years. I do not wish to be put out like the cat whenever some majority feels the whim. You people seem not to comprehend that a minister is the Lord's man in the parish. A minister is not to be so lightly crossed and contradicted.
Hey.
There is either obedience or the church will burn like hell is burning.
Okay, what is a deed? It's the piece of paper that tells who owns a building. And what's a mortgage?
Like your payment.
It's your house payment.
Aha.
Now, raise your hand if you go to church. It's not a judgment, just a question.
Oh,
Does
I'm
the-
here, baby.
Does the church that you go to provide a house for the minister to live in?
Yes.
No.
Both of them do, actually.
Nope. Last one I went to.
Minnesota, St. Paul. It's in Indiana. I can't even understand what it says.
How many do you have?
I think everyone will become a Mennonite, guys.
No. That was very rare.
I would be the smartest one there. I got a junior year education. Oh yeah, if I graduated high school, I'd be the smartest man.
Rico, you're very cold. I think you didn't make this
went below 60 miles an hour, and I think
He's dead. This could really tell he's dead.
Okay,
He's
thank
not
you.
finger in his mouth, but he doesn't make it.
Alright,
If you put your finger
so
in your mouth,
yes, the church that I attend, and actually both, like the church when I was in school and now the church I go to as an adult, most Catholic churches, I think, everywhere in the world basically, both the churches in Scotia, 3 of the churches in Scotia provide a home. What's that place called?
Parsonage.
The parsonage. So the building that the church provides for the minister or preacher or priest is called the parsonage. And who pays for that?
The people. The people.
The people, right? The
Yeah.
people who go to that church. The people who pay the offering every week. That money, part of that money goes to pay for the home. They pay all the bills at the house. They pay the property tax. They pay all the repair fees. And the minister gets to live in it, right? Now, do ministers make much money? No. Like lesson teachers, one of the lowest paying jobs.
They get a free house.
They do get a free house. They usually get a stipend for gas because they're expected to travel a lot to go see the sick and the injured and such things. But is it right for Paris to ask for
Oh my lord.
Stand up.
My legs, they're I'll fall down. Oh, there we go.
Okay.
Look behind you.
Now, Proctor has told us that he does not like Reverend Paris. One of the things he doesn't like is the demand for more money. Add to that the demand for the home. Now we're gonna get a number 3 thing. Rico, we're on. Can you speak?
Can you speak 1 minute without being land in hell again? I'm sick of hell.
It is not for you to say what is good for you to hear.
I may speak my heart, I think.
What are we Quakers? We are not Quakers here yet, Mr. Proctor, and you may tell that to your followers.
My followers.
There is a party in this church. I am not blind. There's a faction and a party
Against you.
against him in all authority.
That's
God dang it!
against him and all authority.
Why then I must find it and join it.
And everyone in the room goes,
Anybody do it?
because why is it a sin for Proctor to say he wants to join a party against the minister? It's against God. What's that Puritan value that this goes to?
Those elected are as equal as God.
Yes. What about those elected? Unconditional election. That those who God has chosen are as good as God Himself.
Yeah.
And so, if you say you want to join a faction that's against the minister, that's just like saying you want to join a faction that's against
Christ.
God. Okay? So by Proctor saying he doesn't like Paris, he's basically saying he doesn't like God. Okay? Ready?
He does not mean that.
You confessed it now.
I'm being
Stand up, Rico.
I'm being solemnly, Rebecca. I like not to smoke this
No. No, you cannot break charity with your minister. You are another kind of John. Last stand with your peace.
I have a crop tree south in the center. And lumber to drag home.
He goes angrily to the door, then turns to Giles with a smile and says,
What say you, Giles? Let's find the party. He said there's more.
I've changed
Hello.
my opinion of this matter.
He doesn't know it yet.
go ahead.
Rob doesn't know it yet, but.
I have changed my opinion of this man, John. Mr. Paris, I beg your pardon. I never thought you had so much piety.
And this is the first compliment he's ever gotten from Giles Corey.
Why, thank you, Giles.
He suggests to the mind what shall be above us all these years. Do I say no? Alright. Think on it. Wherefore is everybody's suing everybody else. Think on it now. It's a deep thing and dark as a pit. I've been 6 times in court this year.
And Proctor is trying to be friendly to Giles, but this is something that Giles is like very passionate about. Like he's always getting sued or suing people, and Proctor kind of tries to make fun of him for it, but Giles is going to respond with anger. Okay, go ahead, Proctor.
Is it the devil's fault? A man cannot say you good morning without you clap.
Okay.
I would bring a turban, I'm still hurt.
Defamation. You are old. And you are not hearing so well.
John Proctor, I have only last month collected £4 damages for you. Publicly saying I burned the roof off your house and
I never said no such thing, but I paid you for it. So I hope I can call you deaf without charge. Now come along, child, without being dragged by the river.
I'll go with Mr. Proctor. What lumber is that you're dragging, if I may ask?
My lumber from out my forest by the riverside.
Why stands clear in my grandfather's will that all the land between the river and
Your grandfather had a habit of willing land and that never belonged to him. If I may say it.
That's God's truth. He knew he was ruled away by a northern passion, but he knew I'd break his spirit before he set his name to it. Let's get your number home, John. I feel I said in the will as we were coming home.
you load one oak of mine and you'll fight to drag it home.
Hey, and we'll win too. But no, this fool and I.
Well, I must not have.
And they start, the two of them start to walk out the door.
Stain.
I'll have my men on you, Corey. I'll clap you over it on you.
Okay, so what is Putnam saying here? Hold on, you don't actually go.
Oh.
What is Putnam, what's this little argument here? Putnam says the land that you're clearing is mine. Proctor says, I paid for it. It's mine. Putnam says, the guy who sold it to you had no right because he didn't own it. Then Giles chimes back in and says, your grandfather was always willing things that didn't actually belong to him. And right at this moment, when these two guys are about to leave, Jackson, Reverend Hale, walks in the room.
Come on, Jackson.
Now,
Come on.
look on page 38.
Sit.
Focus. Page 38.
You have to read more.
John Hale truly believes that he is on a mission from God, that he is doing a favor to the people of Salem and the town that he is from, Beverly, by ridding those communities of the devil. And he feels that his mission is important, like the most important thing. He is a learned man, meaning he has been educated, which is unusual in this situation. Not many people are actually schooled. And if you look on the pages between 38 and 42, there's a long conversation about the existence of evil. Now, some people would say that if you believe in God, you must also believe in the devil.
Yeah.
That you cannot have one without the other. If there is good, there must also be evil. The two things are inseparable. And no matter how hard we try as the good people, there will always be someone evil trying to ruin our plans. My son and husband were watching a Batman episode last night, which is pretty common occurrence in my house. And Batman said Joker was about to kill him, and Batman said, without Batman, there can be no Joker. Evil has to have an enemy.
They actually say how you make
Good. No, I'm not. It just came to me that literally just had this conversation between Batman and Joker. So it's relevant in this situation too, that there are always going to be groups considered evil, whether that's witches or Satanists or
The is
ISIS or actually religious. Did we talk about that in this class?
ISIS? No.
About anarchy, religious anarchy? Didn't we talk about that?
Yeah. What's in? We talked about how ISIS.
No government.
No,
About how easy it would be for Christians to go back to the Old Testament ways. Okay? So I am not saying that ISIS is like thumbs up, okay? I'm not. What I want you to understand is that the people who join ISIS believe they are doing a favor to the world by ridding the world of people that are not like them. Okay? Makes sense? And it's a religious mission. A literal interpretation of their Bible. her on. Okay? Alright. Turn to 43.
Yep.
When Hale walks in, his arms are filled with books, as many books as he can hold. Go ahead.
Pray you someone take these.
Forty.
Mr. Hale, oh, it's good to see you again.
Take some of the books away.
They are heavy.
And Hale sets his down.
They must be, they are weighted with authority.
And Paris is a little freaked out about the fact that he's like, came with all this stuff.
Well, you do come prepared.
You shall need hard study if it comes to tracking down the old boy.
And he sees Rebecca standing over here.
You cannot be Rebecca Nurse.
I am, sir. You know.
It is strange how I knew you, but I suppose you look as such a soul should. We have all heard of your great charities in Beverly.
Do you know this gentleman, Mr. Thomas Putnam, and his good wife, Deb?
Putnam, I had not expected such a distinguished company, sir.
So Putnam and Mrs. Putnam's gonna need to come up here too. Putnam and Rebecca Nurse are so famous, like, and I say famous, but well known. Even people in the nearby town have heard of how wealthy the Putnams are and how good and charitable the nurses are. Okay? Go ahead. Putnam, please.
It does not seem to help us today. Mr. Hale, we look to you to come to our house and save our child.
Your child ails too.
Her soul seems blown away. She sleeps and she can't chew up.
She cannot eat.
Not eat.
He thinks. Then he says to Proctor, and
Do you men have afflicted children?
No, these are farmers. John Proctor.
You don't believe in witches.
Proctor,
I did.
he says to Hale, so remember, these two guys are just about to walk out the door together, so Proctor says, let's go. Giles?
No, John, I think not. I have some few weird questions that I'm going to ask this fellow.
Okay, yeah. Funny word, right? It means
It does mean weird.
weird. Proctor,
I've heard you to be a sensible man, Mr. Hale. I hope you'll use some of it.
and Proctor goes out the door. Don't somebody else take his seat. You can stand up, you guys.
My
Are you
legs
80-year-old men?
Dude, my back is.
Yes.
Actually, technically, I am an 80-year-old man, so I should be able to sit down.
I
He
can stand
identifies
here
as
and
an
I
80-year-old
guarantee
man.
you are all in better physical shape than
Well,
I
I
am.
identify as a
On my back,
65-year-old giraffe.
Okay. Paris says quickly,
Will you look at my daughter, sir?
and he leads Hale over to the bed.
She has tried to leap out the window. We discovered her this morning on the island, lady in her arms.
Tries to fly.
She cannot bear to hear the Lord's name. Mr. Hale, that's a sure sign of witchcraft.
Now he holds up his hands. He has an important message to give them. Hale,
No. Now let me instruct you. We cannot look to superstition in this. The devil is precise. The marks of his presence are definite as stone. And I must tell you all that I shall not proceed unless you are prepared to believe. If I should find no bruise of hell upon her.
okay, so he says there are certain things that mark someone as witchcraft, being witch or being a witch. And you have to put the superstitious beliefs you have out of your mind. Things like she tried to fly or she cannot bear to hear the Lord's name. These are stereotypical markers of witchcraft. He is going to dwell in the actual scientific methods of finding witchcraft. Go ahead. Paris?
It is agreed, sir. It is agreed. We will abide by your judgment.
Good then.
He goes to the bed and looks down at Betty and says to Paris,
Now, sir, what were your first warnings of this strangeness?
Why, sir, I discovered her
And points at Abigail.
and my niece and 10 or 12 of the other girls dancing in the forest last night.
So not only was it the 4 that we thought, it was
10 or 12.
10 or 12.
More.
Wait, we
Come on.
They were all one. Okay.
And Reese was making.
Hale is shocked to hear that they were dancing.
Come on. You
Up your
permit,
legs hurt.
You permit
Hey,
dancing?
now.
no, it was secret.
Now.
Mrs. Putnam.
Miss Harrison? Mr. Parrish's slave has knowledge of conjuring, sir.
Paris says to her,
We cannot be sure of that, Gideon.
and she says,
I know it, sir. I sent my child. She should learn from
Tituba.
Tituba, who murdered her sisters.
And Rebecca Ann cannot believe this. Rebecca
You
Ann.
are shocked.
Rebecca cannot believe this.
Oh, I was like, what?
Gideon, you sent a child to conjure up the dead.
Let God blame me, not you, Rebecca. I'll not have you judging me anymore. It is a national work to lose 7 children before they live a day.
Rebecca turns her face away. She cannot stand to listen to this. Hale says,
7 dead in childbirth.
hey, her voice breaks. She looks up at him. Silence. Hale is impressed. This wow, maybe there really is witches here. Paris looks at him. He goes to his books, opens one, turns pages, and reads, and all of them are staring at him, waiting for him to speak.
What book is that?
What's there, sir?
And he's like, oh, somebody wants to know what I know. I'm so important. And he says,
Here is all the invisible world, caught, defined, and calculated. In these books, the devil stands stripped of all his brute disguises. Here are all your familiar spirits, your incubi, your succubi, your witches that go by land, by air, and by sea, your wizards of the night and of the day. Have no fear now, we shall find him out if he has come among us, and I mean to crush him utterly if he has shown his face.
and he walks over to the bed. So in his books are all of these books about evil stuff, like vampires and werewolves and witches and demons and all those things. Now you may be thinking to yourself, this is ridiculous. This is
He's
like,
reading Harry Potter?
this-
What-
this is actually scientific material
To
in
him.
certain I mean, even in current times, there are literally people who research and write books about evil things.
Make believe stuff.
These people don't believe that it's make believe. Like I just said, if you believe in heaven,
You believe in hell.
you also believe in hell. Okay? So you can't say what Arthur Miller is trying to point out to us here is you can't say you don't believe in those things. Okay? Because if you believe in heaven, you also believe that there are evil beings on planet Earth. Okay? Go ahead, Rebecca.
Will it hurt the child, sir?
I cannot tell if she is truly in the devil's grip. We may have to rip and tear to get her free.
And what's that called? What's it called when you have to rip and tear to get an evil spirit out of someone? An exorcism.
Let's do that.
Guess what? The Catholic Church, those of you who are saying this is make-believe, the Catholic Church, in some cases, even still today, practice exorcism.
Are you kidding me?
Okay? Okay, go ahead. And she rises to leave.
Which they don't.
Just wait. Go.
Striving
Striving for conviction, like you can't believe that she's gonna walk away when this really important thing is happening.
Well, Rebecca, we may open up the boil of all our troubles today.
Let us hope for that. I go to God for you, sir.
Bye.
I hope you do not mean we go to Satan here.
And she pauses and says,
I wish I knew.
and she leaves. And they all feel a little bit snubbed by her. Like her goody two shoes can't stand to be here for this real life thing. Okay, Putnam?
Come, Mr. Hale, let's go on. Sit you here.
Mr. Harrell, I have also wanted that.
to your
cannot tell
seats.
she hides them.
This is a perfect place. Go to your seats and see if Schoology will work.
Martha, my wife.
I go get my computer. Cat or
I'll be Martha.
computer.
Jamie, I swear to God, if you try something like that again, you're
Chris,
getting
do a side of the twig.
Oh, boy.
According to the book.